Hello everybody and good morning welcome to our Monday morning Call the Midwife live, where I jump on and answer any of your questions that you might have around your pregnancy, planning a pregnancy, your labor, your birth, any questions that you've got to ask of your midwife. As you are all coming in, I will just say hello and let you know that I'm Edwina. I'm a registered midwife and I do this little session just to answer any questions that you might have, or even if you've got any fears or worries or something that's happening in your pregnancy or concerns about your labor and birth. I'm here just to hold your hand and ideally be of some sort of service, I hope. We answer questions here on our Facebook's lives at 10 a.m. and I'm very excited to say we're actually hosting a live masterclass this Thursday. So if you are currently pregnant, please register. This is for you and your partner. Share it with any of your family or friends who are also expecting. It is 100% free. It'll probably go for about 45 minutes, 1 hour. And I'm really going to go into the details of probably the 3 most common mistakes that I see in terms of women coming and birthing and just not really being prepared. So things that I see that can lead to a longer, more uncomfortable labor, and I'll give you some tips and tricks to avoid those so that you're not A, coming to the hospital too early, B, coming to the hospital too late, maybe calling your midwife too early or too late, and just so that it's a really enjoyable day that you get to birth your baby. That is what I'm all about. Please, as you know, I love when you say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, who you're watching with, if you've got your partner there watching, or if you've got your little newborn there watching. And if you have any questions for me at all, now is the time to pop them in the comment box. I'll stay on for about 25-30 minutes and just answer as many questions as I can. We will also be answering questions in the Instagram live today and in Instagram stories. So Mondays and Thursdays are your days just to find out as much information as you can. So hello to everybody. I've got a few questions that have already come in via Instagram, so I'm just opening those up. Should have had these open, sorry. Should have had these open already for you. Danielle, hello Danielle. My 19-day-old boy and I are watching from Mackay. That is awesome to hear, Danielle. I hope everything went super duper well for the little arrival of your man. Where are these questions? And I've got them around. This is definitely one that I get a lot. I can't believe how much I'm asked this. Any safe remedies for baby acne? My baby is 2 weeks old. So again, if you're currently pregnant or if you've got a newborn, you would you might have already heard about this, but often newborn babies will get what we refer to as baby acne. Now, I just want to say it's not actually acne, so it's not like you or I about having blocked pores and pimples and sort of infected. It's not like that. It will appear like adult pimples do, but it's often due to a huge hormonal shift, because the baby, when the baby is born, has a whole lot of your hormones inside of them. You know, they've been growing inside of you. And it's that shift of hormones. So it's usually a hormonal reaction that the bab's skin is like that. And I will say, if the sores and if the little spots are not angry or looking infected, it will clear. However, sometimes they can get really angry and infected looking. So if you are concerned, I would definitely recommend either seeing your GP or your local pharmacist. Please don't underestimate the power of seeing and working with your local pharmacist. If you've got a pharmacy in your town or in your city, also try and go to the same one so that they get to know you and they get to know your baby. And it makes it just a little bit easier to have that contact. And sometimes they can be a good port of call before needing to go to your GP. So if you have any concerns that it looks really angry or that it possibly looks infected, that is a really good idea. I would not encourage you to put any creams or potions or anything, particularly, I think you said 3-week-old. Their skin is still so sensitive. So be really conscious of what products you're putting on their skin. We actually recommend in our childbirth classes really just using water for those first few weeks. Obviously, if they've got any, after they've been born and they've got any blood or any poo or anything like that, you might need to use a little bit of light soap. But again, you don't need to use anything with very strong chemicals or smells or anything like that. Just often warm water and a washer is all that they're going to need. I do also highly recommend putting a little bit of breast milk onto it. So breast milk is like liquid gold, okay, mums and dads? If you've got any sort of, even if you've got cracked nipples after feeding or your nipples look a bit angry or sore, express a little bit of breast milk, rub that around, let it dry before you're putting your bra or your crop top back on, and that again will help decrease the pain, increase the healing, and it's like a natural antiseptic, and so it's really, really effective. So I'd try with that baby acne, if it is looking really angry, just putting a little bit of breast milk on it, keeping it clean and dry is what you need to be doing. Sorry, I've missed you all saying hello. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie is watching as she sits and feeds her 4-month-old. Stephanie was part of our online program, so I hope, and I think you were saying your little bubba, yes, is 4 months old. I can't believe how quickly it goes. Kasha says, hi Edwina, we are watching you from Melbourne. Have loved you and your content since I first fell pregnant. Bub is now 8 months and I'm soon returning to work. How exciting. I would like to start weaning Bub off breastfeeding. Any tips or tricks? Thanks in advance. Yes, Kasha, and it can be a real time of transition. What I would say is, how long do you have up your sleeve until you are returning to work? I think it is really good to give yourself a bit of time, give Bub a bit of time, because it is a big transition, and to do it gradually so that it's not feeling stressful for you and you're not sort of passing that stress on to Bub. So if you've got a bit of time, that's great, and it's now time to start thinking about it. In terms of breastfeeding with your 8-month-old, I'm going to assume that your 8-month-old is on solids and eating solids. So what I would say is, for the breakfast, lunch and dinner, if you are offering a milk feed before the solids, now start transitioning to offering a solid feed before their actual meal. And that works really well with being able to, Bubs filling up their tummy on all the goodness that they need. And that way you can actually still have the early morning feed. So when they first wake up in the morning, if you're wanting to still feed, get them up, have some breakfast, have a snack, be having lunch, really working around how can you be offering solids before a breastfeed more often. And what you're working towards is dropping those daytime feeds, okay? That would probably be the best way for you to approach this, particularly if you're going back to work. And that way, if you want to keep the early morning and the nighttime feeds, you can do that, or you can gradually start to wean those as well. It really is just up to personal preference. So what I would look at is dropping the lunchtime feed first, if you're still feeding little Bubba at lunchtime, by offering lunch and the lunch meal, and even just some water or milk in a sippy cup, so that then you're able to start not offering the breastfeed. And it might be tricky for the first few days. I'm really conscious of that, but just go easy and see how they go with 1 or 2 feeds a day. And it can just be a really gradual process that way. We've just popped the link up there now for anybody who is pregnant or expecting, or anyone who is pregnant or expecting. We've got our live masterclass that we're hosting this Thursday night. You just need to put your name and email there, and I'll send you all the information. Plus, that way you get all the free resources that we're going to be sharing with you on the night. So jump on that link, register, and please, I would love if you share it with your mums groups or any other mums groups that you might be in on Facebook. Just copy the link, share it. That's hugely helpful for me, so that I can be reaching more mothers and making them have a more positive birth experience as well. That is my absolute hope. Brianna has said, hi Edwina, just wondering how much solid food and how many meals per day my 7-month-old should be having. She is currently having about 3 to 4 tablespoons for 3 to 4 meals a day. Awesome, Brianna. So what I will just ask again, we can kind of give a guide, it's all a bit of a spectrum. 3 to 4 tablespoons sounds very reasonable to me. However, the things to be looking for, is she gaining weight? Does she seem satisfied? Is she wanting more after that 3 to 4 tablespoons? Or do you find that that's quite an effort? I will say with children, and even as babies and toddlers, but even when they're a little bit older, they're pretty good at monitoring how much they're hungry. So you don't want to get into a habit of sort of force feeding or, insisting that they eat a certain amount. Even with my children now, particularly my 6-year-old, he will go through stages of being really hungry and, just like the other night he finished dinner and I think he'd had some sausages and mash and veggies. And then he was like, what can I have now? And I was like, do you want a couple of Wheat Bix? Do you know what I mean? This is at 7 o'clock at night. And he was like, yep. And so I gave him 2 Wheat Bix. And then he was like, can I have more? I was like, yep. And so I gave him more Wheat Bix. So he'd had 4 Wheat Bix after having his full dinner. And he did that for about 3 or 4 days. So he was clearly going through a growth spurt. And he knows when he's wanting more food. And I don't push it every night if he doesn't finish his plate, because I don't want it to be a constant battle. So I really encourage you from that early stage to give them food, maybe then offering her, Brianna, something that she can grab and eat herself. So she's 7 months old. Be thinking of some things like some steamed carrots in sticks, so that if she is wanting to eat more, she can still do that after without you kind of being too prescriptive around the volume. But 3 to 4 tablespoons sounds really age appropriate for her. But if she's wanting more food, don't be afraid about giving her more food, but also don't feel like it has to be something stressful and you have to really be pumping the food into her, particularly if she's still breastfeeding. They're pretty good at monitoring it. There we go. Sorry, there's the link to the masterclass. Kasha said, so helpful, thank you. And look, Kasha, honestly, with weaning, it is such a personal process. So just really do what works for you and your family, but I would try dropping that lunchtime one first. Nicole has said, what tips do you have to get my 7-month-old to get on his knees and crawl? He is lazy. He loves tummy time and can do circles, but too lazy to crawl and even hold his own bottle. Oh, Nicole, I'm sure he's not lazy. He might just, be a little bit slower than some other people developmentally. And when I say that, that sounds like it's just not everyone starts at the same time. I think we sort of put these, time frames on children, and all it is an average. We're not saying everyone's going to be starting to crawl at 6 months. We're just saying on average they may start to crawl around that time. But 7 months old is honestly not I wouldn't say that's late in any way. I'm just going to grab Junior here and I'll share with you personally. I don't think Polly was crawling until about 11 months. She had a big booty. She had a lot of junk in the trunk. And she was very happy just sitting. And I actually think it's a great thing not to rush, because once they're crawling, oh my gosh, Nicole, there is no stopping them. They're into everything. You can't just leave them somewhere, pop into another room and get something, come back and they're in the same spot. Once they're crawling, they are up and into everything. So I would not rush it. Do not feel like you need to be rushing it. However, what you can be doing is encouraging them to come up onto their knees. So I've got little Junior here and onto their arms, and just playing with them and giving them a little sort of rock back and forth like this. Again, I wouldn't stress too much about it, but what you can be doing is helping them up onto their knees and just letting them move back and forth and get a sense of that. Would not be stressing about a 7-month-old. He loves his tummy time, that's good. He can do circles. He's not lazy. He's just going to take it in his own time. So please do not stress about that. Annalisa said, hi Edwina, just asking for a friend. Her 7.5-month-old just started waking up during the night, screaming 2 hours since going down. She's thinking it might be night terrors. Yeah, Annalise, it could be. It seems a little bit younger, like that age, 7.5 months developmentally seems a little bit too young to be experiencing the night terrors. We usually expect it in a little bit older bubs. It could also be, Annalise, linked to what and the amount of day sleep that little 7.5-month-old has. So let your friend know if she just wants to send me a DM with a little bit more information about what their day sleeps are, how long the awake period is before going to sleep. If that awake period before going to sleep for a 7.5-month-old is too long, sometimes they're overtired, so they go to sleep and then wake up and it's very hard to resettle and get back to sleep. So there could be a bit playing there. I think it's less likely that it's night terrors, probably more likely related to what's happening during the day. And with your little babies, it's really important to remember there's so many things that are linked to sleep. And it's about socializing your baby, looking at what new skills or new developmental milestones they've met, what they're eating. You know, really, it's important to look at filling their cup and making sure that they feel really happy and secure. And I was talking to one of our clients who's doing our sleep program at the moment. And I was just saying to her, because we do one-on-one consults, and her baby has just learnt all these new skills, but is waking every 2 hours. And she was like, it's doing my head in. And I've just given her some simple strategies around really letting her little man show off those new skills. So in the day saying, oh, you're so clever, look at you, you're pulling yourself up, look at you, you're so clever. Everybody look at him, isn't he so clever? And he's pulling up, show me you're pulling up again. Like over and over and over, all day during the awake times, so that the bub is really kind of going, yep, I'm using all these new skills, my cup's really full, everyone thinks I'm awesome essentially, which is what they need, lots of positive reinforcement, and the sleep has changed within 2 days. So like, it's just kind of looking at the bigger picture. That's what I am really passionate about with the sleep course, is looking at each individual family and going, hey, well, what works for you, what doesn't? There's no right or wrong, but I just think it's less likely to be night terrors. I don't know, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying, I just think it's important that you look at what the daytime sleep is doing as well. Zoe, hi Zoe, she says, I'm 37 weeks tomorrow and I was wondering if it's okay to start putting clary sage oil in the oil burner. Yes, Zoe, we do normally say from 37 to 38 weeks. I just need to say, check with your health professional, like your midwife or your obstetrician, and just as long as you don't have any threatened prem labor or placenta previa or any reasons that we wouldn't be wanting you to go into spontaneous labor just yet. But if all those other things are fine, then 100%. I would also recommend a bit of clary sage oil in a nice warm bath can be great as well. And diluting a little bit of clary sage oil in something like some almond oil or something that you like to use at home, so that you can then rub it into your tummy as well. So all those ways are a great way for you to be getting a bit of clary sage. There we go. Awesome. So I don't have any more questions there. Do you guys have any more questions? I will just say around clary sage that is an oil that often is used to help induce or bring on a labor. So for people who are watching that and going, what's she talking about? And you can just get it from a naturopath. Emma said, hi, joining a bit late today, but Emma here in Sydney with my 3-month-old. Feed, play, sleep from your program is working wonders. Yay, Emma. I am so happy to hear that. I've actually got to post a few testimonials. We are seeing so much wonderful feedback from our sleep program. So thank you for you all for signing up and being part of that community. It really, it makes me so happy that we're able to support so many parents and share with you just the joy of getting more sleep. Like there doesn't have to be any hard and fast rules about it. We're just passionate about making sure that it's easy for you and it's easy for your bub. Rachel has just said, hi Edwina, I'm 36 plus 3 and been going back and forward to the hospital the past week as the OB and the midwives are thinking I might be in early stages of either preeclampsia, cholestasis or something similar. If I do have one of those, what should I expect to happen regarding care for me and bub? Okay, so Rachel, I will just answer this sort of in vague, broad terms because I don't want to speak specifically to your condition because I'm not your care provider. But if it's preeclampsia, they're just going to be monitoring you and your blood pressure. So everybody who's watching this, preeclampsia is high blood pressure in pregnancy. And the only kind of cure, essentially, so we can treat the symptoms, so we can treat the high blood pressure with antihypertensives, and we'll keep a really close eye on you and your blood pressure and bub and just see how they are. We'll check your urine, we'll check your bloods. We'll keep a really close eye on you and monitor you. The only way to actually fix preeclampsia is to birth the baby. And the same with cholestasis. So cholestasis is a condition, it's involved with your liver enzymes and it's the effects of the pregnancy. So essentially the best way to be able to treat the cholestasis as well, and it can result in you getting really itchy and having an itchy rash all over you, is to birth the baby. So what it may mean for you, I'll say generally it will mean more monitoring because they'll want to rule out whether it is preeclampsia or cholestasis. I'm going to assume that they've taken some blood and they'll be able to give you the results of that shortly. And it may mean that they need to induce you earlier than expected in terms of your full term due date. So Rachel, just kind of, you'll be playing that one by ear, I'd say, until they get those results back to you. I'm more than happy for you to follow me up with a DM once you've got those blood results back and a bit of a plan in place, if that is helpful to you. All right, team. The login there is for the masterclass. Please, as I said, if you are in any groups on Facebook for any pregnant or expecting mums, do me a solid, share it there. Let mums know that we are here to serve them and to give as much advice so that we can all be experiencing more positive birth experiences. That is absolutely what I am passionate about. If you want to have a look at any of our online courses, just head to birthbeat.com. We've got 3 online courses that we offer: the childbirth education, the baby and child first aid, and our sleep and settle and support programs. So you can go and have a look around our shop there and see if any of those are what you're needing help or support with. We've also got loads of free resources on the website. So once you click on the website, you'll see all those free resources. And I hope to see lots of you on Thursday night for our live masterclass. Rachel's just said, thanks so much. Really appreciate your advice and knowledge. My absolute pleasure, Rachel. And I will talk to you all soon. Okay, bye.